What is up, guys? Today we are going to be talking about some of the big fish I've caught this year and how I caught them. Hope you guys like the video.
Early in the morning, 8 a.m. But you know that I thank him, cause he still count me clean regardless of the mess I lay in. My vision on the throne, clearer than Patron. Yes sir, I am gone, in my zone, thinking about the way my father put me on. It's nothing but grace, how we still give me faith, and he died for the ultimate feeling.
Alright guys, so first things first, we're going to start off with my first big fish of the year, which was a 6-pounder. Went off into a slough, alright, and I wanted to see that topwater bite. I really wanted to see that topwater bite. it was killing me. It was March though, and the water was like 65 degrees. I was like, there's no way I'm going to catch this fish. So sure enough, I come into the slough, and I had put trees under the water here before, and I knew that they were still there. So I made a long cast, and we're looking at this boat behind us. They're catching the crap out of crappie, and I'm looking at this crappie that they just caught. My friend's like, Joe, and I look back and I just see this big swirl by my lure, and it's gone. And I was like, what? I set the hook, boom, 6-pounder. It was awesome. And that was a Sexy Dog by Strike King. Great little walking bait. I think they run like, they're fairly high. They're like $9 or $10, but they're a great walking bait. So then we went to the slough over, and I tied on a square bill and started casting it. I love throwing a square bill in that time of year. It's like post spawn to spawn transition. So that time of year, I love throwing that crankbait. So I'm throwing it, I'm burning it back to the boat, casting, boom, casting, and I see the stump, and I cast right next to it, boom, 8-pounder. But what was funny about that is we could not get the net to it, and my buddy's just like, bear hug it, and I like reach down and I bear hug it, lift it, and just fall back in the boat. Boom, there's an 8-pounder. Awesome day. So that was kind of post spawn transition. Then we jump into post spawn, spawn, and pre-spawn. So you're catching a lot of fry garters this time of year. And we come up on the spot, or I come up on the spot. It was piss pouring rain. It was during the Bassmaster Open practice, so I met Matt Lee and a bunch of other people. It was pretty awesome. And I'm out fishing, and I come into the spot, and I make this one cast. At the tips of these trees are where these bigger bass are bedding, and I found that out by fishing for bed fishing. You know, sight fishing is one thing, but those bigger fish this time of year is where the water was down low and they started to make that bed, and then boom, the water rises. So they were sitting in like 4 feet, now they're sitting in like 6 feet. So I'm casting and I catch a 6-pounder, and I was like, man, this is awesome. So you guys can check that out on my Instagram page as well, Valerian Ridge Outdoors. But yeah, there was a 6-pounder, and I was like, man, this is awesome. So I throw it back, and I make like 2 casts, and that second cast, boom, 3-pounder, and I was like, this is freaking awesome. So then the very next cast, I catch another 8-pounder, and I was like, what the heck? Right at the ends of these trees, it's all. So then a few days later, I want to say it was probably a week, maybe a week. No, maybe it was even less than a week. We had this huge rain, which was when I was fishing, and all this water comes dumping into this creek. So my buddy was like, hey, you want to go fish that creek in the morning? And I said, sure. Well, he calls me and says, dude, there's like 20 people over here on the bank. I'm just going to go get the boat. Meet me at the boat ramp. I was like, all right. Well, what was cool is I shot a turkey that morning. It was like a 9.5, 10-inch beard turkey. And I cleaned it up real quick, throw it in the freezer, meet him at the boat ramp. We take off. Now, the whole day, he's been catching a bunch of fry garters. I missed several fish. We get back in the slough, and I flip by this one tree. I'm just flipping as we're looking for beds, and boom, I catch a 5-pounder, but it comes off right at the boat. And I was like, it's okay, it doesn't bother me. I'm not fishing a tournament. So we start getting back in the slough, and we're finding a lot of beds, but they're so far under the trees you can't really get to them. My buddy makes this cast and gets hung in a tree. Well, he missed a phone call from his wife. So I'm sitting there laughing because he's hung in this tree, his phone's ringing. And so he he ends up getting his lure off and then goes and sits in the back of the boat. In the back of the boat, and he's sitting there and like on the phone, and he's like, just troll around. So I retie real quick because I broke off too, and I've got a Magnum Zoom trick worm watermelon on a shaky head, and I'm coming around and I see this one. I see 3 beds. The middle bed has a fish on it, so I flip to it. Boom! I catch that fish. I was like, oh, that was awesome. Little tiny guy throwing back. I come across and I'm fishing this side of the slough, so then I cut across the other side and I see this giant bed, and only half of it is in the sun, and I see this giant shadow on it. I flip to it, first cast, I just see this big white flash go. It's like, oh god. I set the hook and I'm like, get the net, get the net. And he's like, it's only like a 3 or 4 pounder, and I look at it and I'm like, yeah, he's probably right. Then it jumps. Everything hit the floor at that point. We were like, holy crap. This is a giant fish. So I'm sitting here fighting it. He's still on the phone with his wife. He's trying to get the net, and my foot is on the compartment door, and he's like, move your foot, move your foot. And I'm sitting there, I'm trying to shuffle, and by that time, I couldn't even loosen the drag fast enough. Alright, so I just press the button and let it go. It goes under the boat and starts jumping on the other side of the boat. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's back there on the phone still, trying to net this fish while it's jumping, and then he comes back under the boat, gets wrapped in the trolling motor. Now I wasn't pressing on it, so it didn't actually get wrapped in the prop, just around the shaft, and I'm sitting there trying to pull it out, and he comes loose, dives straight down into a tree. I'm like, this fish is gone. I'm holding pressure and I don't feel anything, so I just keep pulling it out, and just keep pulling it out. Then it starts coming loose and I feel him shaking. He comes straight up. My friend's got this little tiny net like you get at Walmart, like the little tiny old rope style nets. He gets it down, only half of the fish goes in this net and it falls right out. So then he scoops it again and just brings it right in the boat. Boom, there was 11 pound, 3 ounce bass. My biggest bass, double digits. It was awesome. We were just speechless. We were like, holy crap, I just caught that. Like, just not even like, most people, you know, they find these big fish, they spend like 20-30 minutes on it, and here I am, first cast, boom, 11 pounder. What are the odds? So that gives me, all right, 2 6-pounders, 2 8-pounders, 11 pounder, and then we're going to jump all the way to post spawn to summer bass fishing. All right, so there's some, or let me say this: spawn, post spawn, summer fishing. All right, so we're fishing, and I'm coming along this marina, and we've been catching a ton and tons of pre-spawn or post-spawn fish, and I flip by this floating dock, and my worm just goes underneath it. I can see my line go like under the floating dock. I set the hook, and I'm sitting there fighting it. My friend comes up. He came up from Alabama. He just wanted to catch one of these giant fish, and sure enough, there I go. I caught a 7-pounder. So that was pretty awesome. Then I had kind of like a slow time through there. Biggest fish between there and yesterday, or day before yesterday, was just a dead zone. 3-pounders, 4-pounders, 5-pounders, nothing huge. So then I call my girlfriend and I'm like, hey, let's go in this little boat. I got an inflatable boat because I'm going into the Smokies in like a week, and we're going to trout fish. So floating the creek in an inflatable boat sounds like a good idea. So I go and I got this inflatable boat. We sit there and air it up, spend forever airing it up, and we take it out, and it's got like paddles. So we're paddling back into this creek. It's super cold, clear as day, and I see this spotted bass. It's like 1.5 pounds. I'm like, oh, there's a good spotted bass. I'm gonna go ahead and hop out of the boat. So I hop out and I have a pinky worm, like it's a pink zoom worm on just a regular hook. I cast it as far as I can under this in the creek all the way to the rapids, and it just stops, and I'm starting to feel head shakes. And I'm sitting there fighting it. It jumps. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a giant fish. So I start running through the water to the bank and pull it up, and there's a 6-pounder in 1.5 to 2 foot of water in a creek, and that brings me to here. So that's pretty much it, and I can't complain. I mean, you know, 3 6-pounders, a 7-pounder, 2 8-pounders, and an 11-pounder. It's been a great year for me, better than any year in the past. Usually my biggest fish is a 6-pounder. I catch a lot of 6-pounders, but even that 7-pounder was a break for me. And then 8-pounders and 11-pounders. Oh, it's been an awesome year. Can't complain one bit. So be looking for more videos, guys. We're going to be hopefully creek fishing Thursday. Hopefully. We're going to go hike a creek where there's some smallies and spotted bass, a few largemouth. I don't think there's that many. Might even catch a trout. I don't know. So we're going to try that out and hopefully get that on video. And then in about a week, we're going to, or a week and a half, I should say. Yeah, it's about 1 week. We'll be heading to the Smoky Mountains to do some awesome trout fishing and try to catch some suckers and stuff like that. And also go tubing down the river. It's going to be super fun. So hope you guys like the video. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please click this guy here. If you want to see my last video, click here. And if you want to see another awesome video, click here. Hope you guys liked the video today. See you guys later. Valiant Ridge Outdoors is out.